Hello everyone, this is Orlando from A Collector's Dream. And today we are outside. It's a beautiful day here in South Florida. It's over 80 degrees, but it's nice and breezy, so it's a beautiful day. And what we're going to talk about today again is we're going to review the Hagers. And this is the book that I am going through, Hager's Comprehensive Guide to Rare Baseball Cards, 1886 to present. That's the sleeve. That's what we're looking at. Is it still for sale? I would imagine it is somewhere. I just don't know where. But anyway, I'm sure you can find it on eBay. So we're going to continue this pre-war lesson kind of thing here that we've been doing. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about we're going to start with the gold border set, which is the T205's gold border. So let's talk a little bit about that set. Let's see if I can get this thing good for you guys. Just kind of try to adjust here. Just bear with me here. New setup over here. So anyway, just want to show you a little bit of that while I talk about it and read about it. It says the 1911 gold borders T205 American Tobacco Company. They were issued in 1911 by the American Tobacco Company. And as we talked before, the American Tobacco Company owned all of the different brands. So they had tobacco cards under different brand names, but they're all the same. The name is derived from their gold borders. And you can see that they all have a gold border. I don't have my cards here today because I'm kind of outside here. I'm visiting my mom today. But they are the gold borders, and there are three distinct types of fronts. One features a backdrop of a baseball diamond with two bats forming a V. So this is one version of it, and this is the American League cards, and they have a banner across the bottom with the bats and stuff. It says this is a Cy Young card. And then the National League cards, it just has a portrait. It has like a whole border, and it has a portrait, the gold border, and just a portrait. It doesn't have the triangle. Now I don't know if there's a sample in this book of that here, but no. But that's the National League players. So the American League players are like this. The National League players just have the player on there. And then there's minor league players, and these are what the minor leaguers look like. There's 12 minor league cards in the set. And the set is of 219 cards, and they're just the same size as tobacco cards, 1.5 by 2 5/8. And on the reverse, and the best thing about these cards for me is that it's the first cards that have the entire record. It's the first one with stats. So it has all the stats of the players from the 1908 to 1910, because these were from 1911. And there are some different backs also. There are, of course, the Piedmont, Sweet Caporal, the Cycle, and the Honest Long Cut are two of the rarest backs. And so, you know, there's a lot of different rarities, but it's the Piedmont comes first, the Sweet Caporal, the Sovereign, the Honest Long Cut, the Hassan, the Polar Bear, the Cycle, the Broadleaf, American Beauty, Drum, and Hindu. Again, this is the American Tobacco Company. They did the T206s, and then they came out the next year with the T205s. So again, the same brands, same tobacco brands, same scarce backs. But you know, we're not going to get into all the scarcity, because then it just gets a little bit crazier. But the main players in this set is the Cy Young card, and we'll share a little bit of there. It says, kind of says prices on there, but not, you know, this is very old. But the Cy Young card is there. That's pretty much one of the biggest cards in the set. You have the Tris Speaker also in there. You have a lot of Hall of Famers, but mainly it's a Tris Speaker, the Cy Young, of course, the Tai Cob. So we'll get to that here. Tai Cob is like the biggest one here in the set. So I'll share that a little bit closer. So that's, you got the, you know, Hal Chase. You got a lot of Hall of Famers, Bresnahan. You got Hugh Duffy and all that. But the main ones are going to be the Tai Cob. You know, it says Jimmy Collins. Some of these are actually, you know, rare because they have open mouth, closed mouth, that type of thing. And then you have, on this page, you also have the Christy Mathewson, which is really one of the most beautiful cards in this set. And that's one that has the full portrait on there with the gold border. So the Christy Mathewson is really one of the big ones, along with the Cy Young and the Tai Cob. Those are the three big cards in this set of 219 total cards. And it's the 1911 T205 gold border set. So moving on from that set, also in 1911, there's the Helmar stamps set. And the Helmar were in Helmar Tobacco. And this is one of two stamped tobacco type cards that were produced. The other is more popular, is the more popular, which is the American Tobacco, the Piedmont stamp set. So there's the Helmar and the Piedmont stamps. On the front of these stamps is a studio pose. You can see what it looks like here. I'll get you a good close-up of it. See what it looks like there. It's mostly just a studio kind of pose of the player. And inside a frame with a bat on each side of the player, as you can see. And, you know, slightly different in some of the stamps, but for the most part, it's a portrait picture. There's 50 different frame designs, so the designs are different in all the different cards. 50 different frames. Again, it's a stamp, so it's printed on very thin stamp paper with blank backs. There's a total of 180 to this set, and the set is 1 1/8 by 1 3/8, so it's almost like a square, small square stamp. You know, these are not very popular because really they're not technically cards, but, you know, for many people, you know, especially collectors of player collectors, they're going to be interested in some of these Helmar. And some of the big players here are, again, the Tai Cob, which you just saw, is in there. You also have a Walter Johnson. See the Walter Johnson. I'll share a little bit of this here so you can get a good look at here. So you got the Walter Johnson in there, and then you know, you got a few other Hall of Famers, but mainly it's the, you know, the Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson, the Tai Cob that I showed you, and of course the Cy Young. The Cy Young. So those are the top guys in there, and that's pretty much what you're gonna get in these years. You know, Cy Young, Christy Mathewson, Tai Cob. And of course, let's see what. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the 1911 Mecca double folders. That's the T201. Again, another tobacco issue, issued in 1911 by the American Tobacco Company. And these were issued inside the Mecca cigarettes. And I'll give you a good look at what they look like there. In the Mecca cigarettes, they were folded down and to appear like one player. It was like two players, similar to the top double folders in 55, where you folded down. The legs are the same for each player, but you fold it down and you have a different player there. So that is the Mecca double folders, and they were in the Mecca cigarettes. And basically, it's just, you know, the top of the player's name and the bottom is the same for each one. It's just the top changes. So it can be folded down, and most of them or all of them are going to have those folds in there. And they're very thin paper stock also, so they can be damaged pretty easily. And some of the stars in that set, again, they're dual stars. So you have the Tai Cob and Sam Crawford. That's the big card in the set. And that's, you know, pretty much the biggest. And then you have the Walter Johnson with Street, Speaker, Gardner, Jennings, also Doherty, Collins, and you have the Christy Mathewson and Bridwell. So the big ones are the Mathewson, the Cobb with the Crawford, and the Walter Johnson. Again, the same players in the Tris Speaker. Same players pretty much in these years are the big name guys. After that, in 1911 comes the mono cigarettes. Now I'm not going to go over this too much. These are minor league issues. So even though they're rare, they were in the Pacific Coast League by Mono Tobacco Company, a small regional issue, and there really aren't any stars in that set. So we're going to move on with that one. And then you have the O-backs. The O-backs, there's two different. There's the T4. And again, there's still tobacco issues. These were issued by the American Tobacco Company on the West Coast. And again, these are going to be anything, most of the ones that were distributed in the West Coast are minor league issues. So that's what you're going to have in these. And these were premiums. So I'm not going to go into this too much. They're rare. They're kind of expensive. But they're really, as you can see, there are no Hall of Famers in that set. But it is one of the rarest West Coast premium issues. And that's the premiums. And then you have the actual O-back cards, which are the red backs. And again, issued in 1911. And these are kind of cool because the backs are really, really, really neat. You can see what they look like. And again, it's a minor league issue. There really aren't any players in there of any interest. You know, other than if you're a minor league collector or a collector of there is a Cuban player in there, I think Reyanes. But for the most part, it's all minor league guys. Pretty cards, really nice cards, and but nothing big that you would look at. And these are the backs of them. Again, they have different backs, the O backs, and there is one Hall of Famer, I think, in the whole set. And the O-back set, real quick, we'll go back, and there's it's 175 cards, and they're the same size as the regular tobacco cards, 1.5 by 2 5/8. And these are the different backs. The only Hall of Famer there is Buck Weaver, and you know, they're not as desirable as this following one that we're going to see now, which is the Sporting Life, the M116. These are very, very desirable cards. These are not very difficult to come by, and you could see them in higher grades because these were actually inserted into not into tobacco cards, but into what do you call it, Sporting Life magazines, and they were kind of distributed in little envelopes. So let's read about it. It says, issued in 1911 by the Sporting Life Company. The cards were issued in 24 subsets of 12 cards each. The information on the envelope includes the series number of the subset, the Sporting Life pictures, cards of baseball players, a checklist for the subset. It says the Sporting Life Publishing 34, and then has the address on it. There are between 13 and 21 players from each of the major league teams of the era. The black and white pictures of the players are hand tinted and are enclosed by a wide white border. At the bottom of the player's name, at the bottom is the player's name, team, and league. The backs read, when you think of baseball, think the Sporting Life, and I'll show you the backs in a minute. There's various ads for the magazines, and there's various colors as far as the background, different pastels. There's the pastel, there's the blue. The blue is the rarer version, and there's 4 variety of backs. And I'll share with you the backs here real quick. And these are what the backs, the 4 different kinds of backs. And we won't get into which ones are rarer than others at this point, but you know, if you want to get into this particular set, it's a very, very nice set. Mostly portrait pictures on there. Very, very desirable. And it has all of the major stars. And you could get them in relatively higher grade because they weren't inserted in tobacco themselves. So, but all the stars are here. There's a big set. There's 310 cards total in this set. And again, the big one is the Tai Cob. Let me kind of flash down here and I'll show you, because there's different ones. You have the blue, and the pastel. And the blue is always the more expensive one, the dark blue background. You can see that Tai Cob. You can see the same thing with the Eddie Collins. There's a premium placed on that. And some of the other players in the set is the Chief Bender. You have Roger Bresnahan. You have Sam Crawford. Again, the blue background versus pastel is more desirable. And then some of the other stars in this set, I can go down and take a look at it, are Hugh Duffy, Johnny Evers, just a bunch of guys. Some of the bigger names are the Walter Johnson. Walter Johnson only comes in one version, but there's the Walter Johnson in there. And, just some of the other stars of the day. You have the Nab LaJoy, Nab LaJoy, that's in blue or in pastel. And again, the blue you can see is more expensive on all of them. And the other stars of the day, you got the Christy Mathewson up there. Again, the blue and the pastel. You got some rarer ones like the Amby McConnell in Chicago, and some rarities. There's always going to be some of those. George McKillum, Cincinnati. That's even more expensive than the Mathewson. But unless you're into the odd stuff, I go for the stars. Like the Tris Beaker. You have the Hannes Wagner in that set, and that's really one of the most popular Hannes Wagners and one of the more affordable Hannes Wagners. Well, I don't know if there's any affordable Hannes Wagners in this day, but you can see the blue and the pastel. The blue is much more desirable versus the pastel background. And some of the other guys in here, again, the Cy Young, you're going to have a Cy Young in all of these sets. So this one is great because it's big set, 310 cards, and it includes not just Tai Cob, but Hannes Wagner and all the other big names. Moving on to 1911, you have the Turkey Reds. And these were big, beautiful cards. These are, kind of like cabinet cards. They're 5 3/4 by 8. So you can see how big they are. And it's a set of 131. There's 103 in the baseball set because there are other boxers and stuff in the set. So again, let's read a little bit about this set here, issued in 1911 by the American Caramel Company of New Jersey. And this set was a premium. Collectors were invited to send in 10 coupons from the Turkey Red cigarettes box pack, or 25 coupons for Old Mill or Fez cigarettes in exchange for one Turkey Red card, a T3. But you can actually choose the one that you wanted. It says not too many took the opportunity, so that's why they're valuable, because it's mail in. In those days, it was much more difficult to just mail stuff in and all that. It wasn't like the internet or anything like that. It says these are full color lithos and one of the most attractive and popular of the cabinet cards. The front of the cards is a full action pose of the player, enclosed by a small picture frame, which is 1/2-inch gray border. At the bottom, within the plaque, is the player's name, team, and league. And the reverse has different backs. You have checklist backs and advertising backs and things like that. So we'll go ahead and share some of the backs over here so you can see what some of the backs will look like. You see the checklist back, which is pretty much, I think, the more popular one. But I kind of like the Turkey Red back too, because it's got the advertising. It kind of shows how, the antique type view there. Again, what are the big cards in this set? Well, you got, of course, the Tai Cob, which is the big boy there. The Tai Cob is by far the most expensive card in the set. And, all of the other guys are there, all the big names, Sam Crawford and stuff. The Christy Mathewson, John McGraw. Christy Mathewson, another one of the expensive one. The Nat Lajaway also is an expensive one, along with the Cy Young, of course, and the Tris Beaker. And then you also have some of the boxers in there. But the Walter Johnson is also a big card. You can see that's a $9,000. According to this is an old book, but that's the other big one, is the Walter Johnson. So that's the 1911 Turkey Reds, the T3. And let's move on to the 1911 Z-Nut. Now the Z-Nut, again, these were a local issue in the San Francisco area and the West Coast. It says this particular set was issued in 1911 by Collins and McCarthy Candy. It's a candy set. That's why it's an E versus the T. And it's basically, it's minor leaguers. You can see the card, how it is there. It's a beautiful card, with a brown background. And the backs are found blank or stamped Collins and McCarthy Company. And there really is the only one in this set that's a Hall of Famer is again Buck Weaver, but other than that, it's all minor leagues. So unless you're interested in any of that stuff, we'll move on to this set, which is really one of my favorites. I like the 1911 brown borders. These are called the brown borders, the T207s, and these were issued in 1912 by the American Tobacco Company. And the name of these again is derived from the brown border, because that's what they're called, brown borders, just like the gold borders or the white borders, the T206s. These cards feature either an action or a studio pose picture of the players, and this is cool because it does have a nice portrait, but there are action poses, and I've shown some of those cards already in my other videos. It says the backgrounds were brown and the borders are tan. The bottom of the card is the player's last name, the name of the team, and the league. The backs carry the player's name, followed by a brief biography. And that's the other reason I like these cards, because it does have, again, like the T205s, it has a history of the player. And that to me is really, really interesting, because it's kind of, one of the first, this is actually the second time that it has a player biography in the back of the cards. And these again have a lot of different backs. They're more often, it says those found most often are the recruit, and then comes the cycle backs, then the broadleaf, the Napoleon, and then the rarest is the Red Cross backs. There's also a blank back that commands a premium. And who is in this set? Well, there's the rookie card of, the American rookie card of Rafael Almeida, the first Cuban player. So his rookie card is in there. You have a Chief Bender in there. You have Roger Bresnahan, Frank Chance. But the big card in that set is really the Walter Johnson. And you can see that, you can see that Walter Johnson right there. Let me move that up there a little bit here. See that's the Walter Johnson, Harry Hooper, but mainly it's the Walter Johnson. It's a 207 card set. It doesn't have a whole lot of Hall of Famers. You can see there is no Tai Cob or anybody like that, but there are a few of them, and there are some cards that are desirable in this T207 brown border set, and they're relatively inexpensive considering how old they are. So moving on from the 1912, let's show the back. Let's show there are other stars in here, and let's see, the other stars are the Tris Beaker. I'll move it over here and I'll share with you. This is the last of it here, the Tris Beaker, and there's a lot of rarities in there in this set, like the Louis Laudermilk. These are all like really rare short print cards. Or Irving Lewis, really rare stuff. Tough cards to find, just short prints, but not really major stars. Again, the major stars are going to be, some of these guys here. The Tris Speaker. See, all these are kind of not Hall of Famers, but they're cards that are very, very rare. So here's some of the backs. You can see some of the backs here of the T207. Again, since they were distributed by the American Tobacco Company, they were distributed through all of these different brands, from Piedmont, Sweet Cap, Earl, Honest Long Cut, American Beauty, Broadleaf, and Cycle. So moving on to 1912 again. Another 1912 issue was the Colgan Chips, the red border. These are much rarer than the regular Colgan Chips. These were issued in Louisville, Kentucky by the Colgan Gum Company. And it's a set of 158, and they're 1.5 inch round. And you can see that it says violet or mint chips. So again, they came in two different little round tins. And they came in canisters of, it says inserted in 5-cent purple metal canisters of Colgan's violet chips or mint chips. And you can see what they look like there. These are very small, very tiny, 1.5 inch pieces. But it's a pretty big set of 158, so it does include some Hall of Famers like Tai Cob. You can see it's got Tai Cob in there, and it's got you know, Frank Chance and Roger Bresnahan, Home Run Baker, and the other big guys in here is the Cy Young. There's the Cy Young, and again the Tris Speaker. Tris Speaker seems to be in most of these sets, and these are early years of Tris Speaker. So another popular set, one of the most popular sets in 1912, is the Hassan triple folders. And triple folders look like this. And these are beautiful cards because they have, very similar to the gold border T205s, the same pictures, same images, and the same kind of look, but they don't have the gold borders around it. And they have a picture of a play, an action play that's happening in the middle. A lot of these, and you'll find them, they're folded in. That's why they're triple folded. They kind of fold up like that. So you're not going to find any that, you know, they're all going to have those little creases on there. So let's talk a little bit about the Hassan triple folders. And they were issued in 1912 by the American Tobacco Company for the Hassan Cigarette Company. They came in a 10-cent box, and they were, you know, just a set of cigarettes that were one of the most expensive of that era. You know, that's why they were larger pieces, because they came in a larger box. For this reason, the cards tend to be rare and difficult to find in the high grades other than a 5. The distribution was mostly in the New York area and to a lesser extent in New England. There are 3 separate pictures on these cards. The cards are large. They measure 5 3/16 by 2 1/4. It says 5 1/2, but here it says 5 3/16. And there's a set of 132 total cards. In the center, the largest card features an action scene. It's in black and white. The picture to the left and the right, also in color, and the same size and appearance as the T205 cards, and the same facsimile autograph. The play is given a name at the top and in the back. So you guys have seen those. Those are pretty popular. You can find them around. You know, they're kind of a thin stock, so they're kind of tough to, you know, in great condition. And the hinge area always shows a lot of wear, and it's darker than the rest of the card because it's always been folded. Some of the big cards there, you have the Tai Cob, of course, and so you have the Tai Cob, which is one of the biggest cards in this set. You know, all the Hall of Famers are pretty much going to be in here. You have the Christy Mathewson is in there also, and let's see, you have the Walter Johnson. I'll share that page with you a little more. The Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson. You know, you have some rarer ones. Depends on the combination, because there's a Tai Cob here with O'Leary. It's a little bit tougher to find than the Tai Cob. You know, one has a great batsman in the middle, and the other one has Ford putting over a spitter. So depending on the mix that's in there, you know, here's a few others up here. Here's the Christy Mathewson, as you can see, and you know, they have different pictures in the middle and different players on the sides, so you can get different combinations. There's a Tai Cob with Moriarty. That's also a tough one to find. So different combination, different types of players. A few Mathewsons, a few Tai Cobs in that set. But a very popular set, and it's one that's very readily available, not that rare. Next comes a very rare issue, and that's the Helmar Leathers. And this was a very, very unique, because it's a piece of a leather, an actual piece of leather. And it's kind of sanded down, and then they print the image on the card, on the leather. And these are very, very, very rare. And these are 25. It's a 10 by 12. And there's 125 leathers in all. And to get one of those, you had to send in 50 coupons, of which was found inside of the Helmar cigarettes. 50 coupons is a lot of cigarettes for people to go ahead and redeem that. So not many of these were redeemed. So you're not going to find very many of these. These are, you know, kind of similar to the silks as far as the look, the pictures that are on there, but extremely, extremely tough. And some of the big names in here, And you can see the prices way back where then. You know, you have the Walter Johnson, you have Christy Matthews and Tris Speaker, Eddie Collins. Of course, you got the Tai Cob in there that you see. Grover Cleveland, John McGraw. Very, very, you know, expensive and very rare. This is for the true rarity collector. The 1912 Helmar Leathers. Now comes the 1912 Home Run Kisses. Now, Mangini showed one of these in his few videos ago. He bought one of these, and these again are minor league players from San Francisco. They're really nice looking cards because they have that that border. I love borders like that. They're kind of ornate frame border, but there really isn't any main players in here. These are 2 1/4 by 4 1/4, and they have the Home Run Kisses little logo in there. They have the Kisses logo in there. You can't see it there, but it's in there. It has the little logo, and it says Home Run Kisses. You see Home Run Kisses. It's the name of the candy at that time. But as you can see, there are no Hall of Famers in this set, so it's not a real popular set to collect if you're collecting any of the big name players back in the day. And a similar set to that, again, another rare set, beautiful set, but rare, but not one that most people collect because there aren't many big name players on there. And that's the 1912 Imperial Tobacco, the C46 Canadian issue. And again, you can see how nice it is, but I'm going to skip through it. There really aren't. There's a couple Hall of Famers in there, Joe McGinnity, and Joe Kelly. That's about it. But for the most part, you know, it's an issue that has mostly teams from Baltimore, Buffalo, New York, mostly a minor league type issue. One of the rarest cards you're going to find are the 1912 Pirate. And these are not like the Pirates of the 1800s. They're Pirate cigarette. And these came in Pirate cigarette packs. Very, very, very rare issue. I've never really seen these in person. These were issued by the British American Tobacco Company. So they were American Tobacco Company, but in England. And you can see the back has like a pirate. There's 2 different backs. And these are extremely rare. They look like the T206. They're 1 1/2 by 2 5/8. There's a set of 93 different cards. And there are some big names in there. There's a Tris Speaker, Joe Tinker, Zach Weed, Nab Lajoie, Sam Crawford, Frank Chance, but they're extremely expensive, extremely rare. You're not going to see many of these, so, you know, if you find one of these, jump on them. Next comes the famous Plowboy's Candy, a really, really tough issue. These were issued in 1912 by Plowboy's Candy, and they're extremely rare, and less than 500 are known to exist in total. They're sepia tone pictures of players with a white, kind of white border. The words Plow Candy Collection is on the top. Plow's Candy Collection is on the top there. I'll share with that a little bit better. And the reverse is blank, and it's one of the rarest e-cards in this book. This guy says he's only seen 5. So extremely rare. You'll only find these at auction, but there's some huge, huge cards in there. Some big, big name guys in there. You know, including the Tai Cob. You got Tai Cob. You got Mordecai Brown, Roger Bresnahan, Johnny Evers, Walter Johnson, Nab Lajoie, Christine Mathewson, Lou Marquardt, Tris Speaker, and the Honus Wagner card. So you got Honus Wagner in there too. Very, very, very tough issue. The Plowboy's Candy. You're probably never going to see many of these around, but they are expensive if you do see them. Next in 1912 is the Red Cross, and the Red Cross was issued in Louisiana by the Red Cross Tobacco Company, which was a division of the American Tobacco Company. And these have a nice back with the Red Cross Tobacco. It's a set of 80. Even though this is 100 designs, it's only 80 players. Again, the tobacco card size, 1 1/2 by 2 5/8. And, you know, the fronts are similar to the coupon type sets are the fronts of it. There are some big names in this set also. There's the Tris Speaker. You have a Walter Johnson in that set. Christy Mathewson. There is no Tai Cob. Yeah, there is a Tai Cob. There's a Tai Cob in the Red Cross. That's going to be super expensive. But it's a tough issue, and it's a Louisiana issue. So, again, these regional issues are extremely hard to find. And, when you're getting into oddball stuff in the back in the pre-war area, you're talking about expensive stuff here. So we're almost to the end here. It's 35 minutes. This will be the last one that I'm going to cover in this one here, and that's the silks. And the silks, again, they're kind of similar to the to those what do you call it, the leathers that I showed you there. These are from the American Tobacco Company. They're premiums. They're really made of silk. A lot of these were used. People made, things out of it, like pillowcases and stuff like that. So again, they're tough to come by, but there are some big name guys like Walter Johnson. I'll share here. There's Walter Johnson. There's Christy Mathewson, Tris Speaker. There's a Tai Cob in there. Mab Lajoie, Home Run Baker, Chief Bender, Grover Alexander. All the big names are in this silks. And these are tough to find, and a lot of them are going to have some of the silk edge kind of removed, or kind of, you're going to find them mostly in authentic altered for the most part. And then the last one we're going to cover today here is the Z-Nut series. Again, a Home Run Kisses, but it's a Z-Nut. And basically this is just a set of 157. Again, the Z-Nuts were all Pacific Coast League cards. In the West Coast, minor leagues, not real interesting unless you're super into the niche type pre-war sets. And that's about it. We're going to go ahead and stop right here with the Colgan's tin tops. And these, again, are similar to the other ones that we saw earlier, but they're Colgan tip tops. Again, with Colgan and violet mints, but these are 1913 versus the other ones that are 1912. A few Hall of Famers in here. Again, 1.5 inch round, 174, set of 174. And it's got, again, the Tai Cob, same thing as the 1912. Tai Cob, Sam Crawford, and all the other guys. Lajoie, Keeler, Honus Wagner. Some people don't like them because they're tiny little things, but they're an actual photo, and that's one reason I do like them, because they are actual photos. So, all right, that's about it for this session of pre-war card history. And next time we'll hit the Fatima cards, and we'll share some of those. So thanks for watching, guys. Orlando from Extra Stream. Hoping you guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching this series. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you on the next one. Have an awesome day. It's Orlando from Extra Stream, and enjoy the day. It's a beautiful day in South Florida, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day at home. Thanks for watching.